What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to give my final predictions, my final expectations for Gamescom 2023. We made it another year, everybody, and no, honestly, I think this is going to be a really cool show. I guess I know I always say that, for all these events, all these Jeff Keighley events, but I really do think this can be a strong show. I've said in the past, Gamescom normally is his stronger of the two shows when it comes to Summer Game Fest versus Gamescom. Normally, Gamescom is better, and that's kind of just taking the average of the last couple of years. Game Awards is obviously the best, right? That's where he pulls it all out and figures out all these partnerships and does some really, really big reveals that you're talking about till the next Game Awards, right? I got to give Jeff Keighley that quite a bit, and Gamescom, though, really does come second. I think there's some pretty solid announcements. There's some solid reveals that he's done over the past couple of years there. So one thing I want to say before I get too far in, well, number one, the show's on Tuesday, right? Tuesday. It's earlier in the day because it's in Germany. It is nighttime, but it's 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. I will be co-streaming it. So if you want to watch it live with me, if you're into any one specific game, I'm going to be covering all the games. So if you want to watch live, 11 a.m./2 p.m., depending on your time zone, come by. I'll be probably starting the stream an hour early, as I always do. We always have a blast. I truly, truly do love co-streaming these events. All right, in terms of the expectations, we've said it before, and Jeff Keighley has said it before, but in case this is the first video you've seen, so one thing he made very, very clear, and he emphasized, is that this is a show more about updates than it is announcements and reveals, right? Summer Game Fest had a couple announcements/reveals. The Game Awards always has a few really, really big ones, but Gamescom, this specific Gamescom, is more about updates to games coming out this fall, and also games coming out within the next 12 or so months, so like 2024. Now, to me, that's perfectly fine. In fact, that's almost right now, at least in my life, and considering we have the other two shows as well, and everybody else can also do their own shows, this is really good because there's a lot of games, number one, coming out in the fall, but number two, games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or Death Stranding 2, or Stellar Blade, or Hellblade 2, or Avowed. I mean, there's a lot of games, and those are games potentially early 2024, maybe mid 2024. There's probably a list of 25 to 30 games you can rattle off, and all of those games would be candidates to appear at Jeff's show, okay? So for me, this is good, but also, I guess on the flip side of things, don't expect then the next announcement of, I guess whatever you would want to say. It's hard to say what a brand new reveal is because we wouldn't know ahead of time, right? But if you're expecting some brand new reveal for a game that's 3 years away, that's probably not happening. Maybe he does one or two. That's kind of what I've said. Maybe it's one or two things. He's probably going to have some of these world exclusives he's always so pumped for, but I think overall it's going to be more games we already know, games we maybe already have seen before. It's just more stuff, or it's a release date or a release window, things like that. So he's already said it, and he's already announced some things that fit into that, right? So he's done the Alan Wake 2s of the world, the Assassin's Creed Mirage. I do believe, in my a prediction, I think Starfield is going to be there on the actual live stream. Obviously, you can't play it on the show floor, but I do think it would be there as some sort of announcement, some sort of maybe final launch trailer or whatever. I think that could happen. If we're sticking with Xbox, Stalker 2, it's playable the days after at a Gamescom. So I would not be all that shocked if Stalker 2 was something that they showed again, because again, we've already seen the game, right? So they're showing it again and maybe give a release date. The rumor is it maybe comes out in December. I wouldn't be surprised if like a Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I've long said, I think like one big one of each of those companies. So if Starfield is the one for Xbox, I wouldn't be shocked if something like a Detective Pikachu or like a Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I wouldn't be surprised if one of those games was Nintendo's participation, in this. Now, Sony, the thing that we've talked about so often, right? Although they're not going, so like, again, the day after, 2 days after this live stream, and when you're playing games on the show floor in Germany, you're not going to be able to play Spider-Man or anything because Sony's literally not going. I don't think that rules them out of being at Jeff's show. I really, really don't. So I do think Spider-Man 2 could absolutely be there. In fact, I would actually put it a pretty high odd that he already did it, at Summer Game Fest. Ever since it was announced, or re-shown, I should say, right, at the PlayStation Showcase, it's been everywhere. Comic-Con, Jeff Keighley's show number 1, maybe Jeff Keighley's show number 2. But if that's not there, I would say Death Stranding 2 is not a bad candidate. Probably comes out next fall. Kojima, we know how much Jeff loves Kojima, so I wouldn't be shocked if maybe that was something that they did. Stellar Blade is another one that comes to mind. Not a first-party game, right? It's not made by Sony, but it does lean PlayStation, so maybe that would be their participation in the show. Again, I'm trying to go with maybe like one or so of each. One thing I want to throw in before I forget, the Lego Harry Potter game. We talked about this rumor, actually several times the rumors on my channels, in that it's going to happen, right? There's going to be a Harry Potter Lego game that's much like the Star Wars Skywalker Saga game. Look back at my old videos, just type it into YouTube, you'll find stuff. It's absolutely happening. So you can mark that. That one I'm very confident we will absolutely see. I also wouldn't be too shocked if Quidditch Champions, Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, beyond that for like Warner Bros, the other things that would come to mind, right? Wonder Woman, I think that's too far out. I wouldn't really expect it. But Suicide Squad, that game comes out early February, so that is a 2024 game, right? Early 2024 game. I think that's got a shot. I don't know, because again, the Harry Potter thing, that would be a Warner Bros. Game. And again, like, these should be things, God, I hope so, that they give, like, release dates or release windows. So if, like, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was there, please, for the love of God, it's a little far out still, or again, early 2024, but give the date. Or give a month or whatever you want to do. A couple other games that I always talk about on this channel that I'm just going to keep, like, circling back to. I know I mentioned Stellar Blade, and that is one of the games I constantly talk about. But Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a game I've also talked about, like, literally, it seems like every week I think about that game or I talk about that game. That game was announced last Gamescom, and it was supposed to come out this year. I highly doubt it now, but I think they kind of owe it to us to talk about it or show something. Also, Transformers Reactivate. That game was shown at the Game Awards, so not fully a year ago, but we knew it's been in development for a very long time, and the beta, I believe, was supposed to be this year, so that's another one. You could even maybe say, I know people had mentioned Hades 2. That was obviously announced at the Game Awards, and that'll probably go through an extensively long beta phase before the game actually releases, but the beta might be further out, right? You really gotta, I would say, condense your thoughts to games that, again, are just releasing in the next 12 months. I'd say a far out prediction. This will be what I end this video on. Far out prediction. It's a year away, a year or change away, I guess, and it is a big thing. I think Dragon Age Dreadwolf has been at Jeff Keighley's shows actually quite, I think, like 3 or 4 times. It showed up. It hasn't been there recently, right? Because it hasn't gone anywhere recently. But they did do many Jeff Keighley, presentations or shows or whatever. This would be the time to, like, full trailer it or show gameplay, right? And then say when, this one's tough because this could be like a fall 2024 game. So maybe you would just say that, right? You don't give a date like 13, 14 months out, but just saying fall 2024 or just 2024 and we all know it's the fall, right? Something like that. I think that would be, and I think that's an example of like a big game, huge game that we already know about and we've seen to some extent, but that would be one of his like world exclusives, world premieres that he's so proud of, right? I think Dragon Age Dreadwolf kind of fits that, but I'm excited. Again, if it's any of the games that are coming out this fall, that's totally fine. If it's games coming out in 2024, these are the next wave of games that we're getting anyway, so we might as well kind of see, more about them. A lot of those games we haven't seen a lot of. You think of Stellar Blade or Transformers, and these are cool-ish games that are coming out in the next year that we have really seen very limited amount, and we have to eventually see something. So a Gamescom would be one of those times that we could. So let me know any predictions you guys have in the comments. Again, I'll be co-streaming it, so we will kind of rattle through, I'm sure, predictions the day of as well. Thank you for watching. If you want to check out my other channels or my Twitter or Discord, all the links are in the description. I hope to see you all on the next one.